Position the cued clip. This is funny. This is funny. Okay, here. This will do it. There we go. Oh, I love my job and I couldn't do it without you. All right, so here's the question. Sandra Bullock, hopefully, does not hold Michelle McGee responsible for her husband's multiple affairs. I don't. A sensible person isn't going to do that. A sensible person isn't going to blame somebody else for their spouse cheating. You know, it's what's going on in your spouse's head or in your marriage that causes something like that to happen. It has nothing to do with the person that they cheated on. Oh, if it's a one-night stand, and that's the only time it's ever happened, then maybe. Yeah, well, this girl came on to me, and I had been drinking too much, and I just feel terrible, and she just took me in the back of her car, and in the middle of it I realized what a horrible thing it was, and that's when the cop came up and shined the flashlight in the window, and my wife's a cop, and boy, am I in trouble. No, I don't know. I don't know. But, you know, you can't blame the other person. So, when Michelle McGee steps forward to Sandra Bullock and says these type of things to apologize to her, should Sandra accept? I mean, what else can Sandra do? I mean, the good book tells us you ask for forgiveness and you shall receive. I mean, there are some people that I despise for what they've done to me. But if they came to me and asked for forgiveness, who am I to say no? That's wrong. That's absolutely wrong. When somebody comes and says, please forgive me, I am sorry. Now, does that mean you jump back into bed with him? Does that mean you go back into business with him? Does that? Probably not. But Michelle McGee is saying, I'm sorry. Now, I will admit there isn't anything here where she said, I'm asking her to forgive me. I don't imagine that's probably in her vocabulary. But Michelle McGee is not the guilty party in this. Michelle McGee was a victim of circumstances who has some responsibility in this. Don't get me wrong. But Jesse James is the culprit. Sandra Bullock is the victim. And some of the other women that Jesse James hooked up with, slept with, had an affair with while he was married to Sandra, they're victims too. Some, this much guilt. Some, this much guilt. I don't know how far I can get my hands apart and still see them. This right. Okay, this much guilt. That's the full screen guilt. That's all the guilt you get. It's full screen guilt. How are we doing? No, pictures. Now it's out of the picture. Come over here. Okay, there's full screen guilt. Trina, you're right. Michelle did know he was married. Did know. But if Jesse James said it's not a big deal, we're separated, we're not living together, we're getting a divorce, you know, whatever, then how much guilt can Michelle have? And I really don't know the answer to this, and I really don't want to try to seem morally superior in what would be right or wrong here. I don't know the answer. But at some point, the way Sandra gets over the pain is by forgiving. For those of you that have experienced that in your life, you know what I'm speaking of, and I don't need to talk anymore. For those of you that don't understand that, it may not be right for you, I'll admit that. But the only way I can move on with horrific betrayals and being hurt by people intentionally, maliciously hurting me, is I give it to God and I forgive them. And I can't forgive them on my own, so I have to give it to God. I don't have the capacity to forgive someone who has wronged me that much. I'm not that smart. I'm not that good. I'm not that mature. What I do know is that God can take that for me and teach me what forgiveness is. So what Sandra Bullock will have to do at some point is forgive each one of those women. Yes, each one of those women, because they too are victims, and eventually forgive Jesse James. Will they ever be together again? I'll be really surprised if that happens. Jesse, you just gave up the best thing you ever had in your life, dude. You are one dumb prick. I cannot... You seriously? I mean, unless Sandra Bullock is just something completely different, unless she's some, screaming Mimi who's just a crazy woman to live with, you just screwed up the best thing in your life, dude. Why? Just to get laid? To have your ego fed for 7 minutes or 70 minutes of sex and pleasure? Hey, I like it as much as the next guy. But I'll tell you what, I'm not cheating on my wife for 70 minutes of pleasure. There's no way. And if my wife and I are done and we can't make it anymore, then you quit and you move on. But you don't do that. But a lot of people do. And I'm not going to judge. I just know what's right for me. But I also hope Sandra Bullock takes the time and forgives Michelle and these other girls. And this goes the same for Elin Woods, too. Because when you're really going to be able to put your life back together is when you take the bitterness and throw it away. When you take the shame and you stop trying to hide it. When you take the guilt and be responsible for what actions you had in this. And then thank the good Lord for the breath you take and the people you have in your life. And you move forward. You don't move on. You move forward. You plant your flag and move forward. And say, this line in this sand at this time, that's done. We're done. I'm done. I'm moving forward. I'm sure Sandra Bullock isn't listening to this. Perhaps she'll look it up online when I tag her. But it isn't just for Sandra, it's for me, it's for you. It's for those people in this world who are faced with circumstances that they didn't plan on. It's not what they expected. Oh, I know I have some culpability in it, but it isn't what I expected. Well, for those people, forgiveness is a great place to start. Because when you carry that crap in your head, between your ears, in that 5 inches of space that seems to be eternal and endless. 5 inches. 5 inches. That's all I got a thick head, so maybe it's 5.5. What lives between that 5.5 inches is the most destructive weapon in the world. My imagination and my thought process. And before I get too far down the road with pointing fingers at anybody else and casting blame and shame and guilt, I remember that the most equitable tool to help my life become the best it can be is simply forgiveness. All right, you guys have a great day. Tomorrow is Wednesday. It's my real estate day, so I won't be doing the show. I appreciate it when you stop in. Thursday, I'll be back. That's my birthday, so we'll do a little party celebration. Happy birthday to me. I like birthdays. I think birthdays are important. So yeah, I kind of make a medium deal out of it. And if it's your birthday and you want to, I'll give you an invitation here. If your birthday's coming up, or when your birthday comes up and you want somebody to make a big deal out of it, call me. I love making a big deal out of somebody's birthday. It's one of those rare things that we all have that we probably never got to enjoy as much as we wish we could have. So you want to make a big deal out of your birthday? I'm the big deal guy. You call me and I will, with great pleasure, help to make your birthday the biggest and best day that you could ever have in your life. Because that's what birthdays are for. Birthdays are to celebrate the fact that I lived one more year and I made it and I got another notch on my belt. This Thursday will be 51. Good Lord in heaven, I don't feel a day over 23. All right, maybe 25. So Thursday's the birthday. Don't forget, Friday night, 5 to 7. It's a Caldwell Banker fundraiser for breast cancer at Miss Kitty's. I'm going to charge you for everything I can. And then after 7, we're going to do a little whoop-de-doo for my birthday. Not a big deal. For those of you that were at my 50th, it's nothing like that. There won't be any pictures of me or anything hanging around. We're just going to sit up there and have some hot tea or have a beer or whatever you drink and just kind of celebrate that the old man made it one more year. And I'm looking forward to the 51st year because I'm going to get a new grandbaby. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait to hold that baby. I'm going to spoil that child to no end. His parents or her parents are going to dislike when Grandpa comes over because Grandpa's going to be doing some spoiling. Yes. Thank you. Okay, guys, have a great one. My name is J. Michael McCoy, and this is Mac's World. And if I haven't told you lately, thanks for listening. I love this job, and I couldn't do it without you right here at MaxWorldLive.com.